I never thought a single text message could destroy everything I believed about my family. But when my phone lit up that Tuesday afternoon with those 8 words from my mom, my entire world shifted on its axis. Don't call or come over. We're done. And don't even think about the will, sweetie. I stared at the screen. Read it again. Then once more. My hands weren't shaking yet. That would come later. In that moment, I just felt cold. Completely, utterly cold. I was sitting in my tiny apartment, the one I'd been renting for 3 years while working 2 jobs to stay afloat. The afternoon sun was streaming through the window, hitting the chipped mug of tea I'd just made. Everything looked normal. Peaceful, even. But nothing was normal anymore. I picked up my tea with steady hands, took a slow sip, and typed back 2 words. Got it. Then I set my phone down and waited. I didn't cry. I didn't call. I didn't drive over their demanding answers. I just sat there, watching the steam rise from my cup, feeling something dark and certain settle into my bones. Because here's the thing about being pushed too far. There comes a moment when you stop breaking and start calculating. And I had just reached mine. My name is Emma. I'm 32 years old. And this is the story of how my mother tried to erase me from the family, and how one quiet text message response led to the most intense night of my entire life. By midnight, my phone was exploding with missed calls and messages. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the beginning, so you understand exactly why that text message was the final straw, and why my silence became the weapon I never knew I had. If you're enjoying this so far, don't forget to like the video and watch till the end. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you would have done in my situation. 3 months before that text message, things were already falling apart, but I was too blind to see it. My younger sister Ashley had just gotten engaged. Big wedding planned. My mother was over the moon about it. Every phone call was about venues and dresses and catering. Every family dinner revolved around Ashley's perfect life with her perfect fiancé Marcus, who worked in finance and drove a BMW and called my mother Mom like he'd been part of the family forever. I was happy for her. I really was. Ashley and I had always been close, or so I thought. We'd shared rooms growing up, traded clothes, told each other secrets in the dark. But something had changed in the past year. Something I couldn't quite name. It started with small things. Ashley not returning my calls as quickly. My mom forgetting to invite me to a lunch they'd planned. Conversations that would stop abruptly when I entered the room. I told myself I was being paranoid. That I was just sensitive because my own life wasn't exactly Instagram-worthy. I'd gone through a rough breakup 2 years ago, my career as a graphic designer was stable but not spectacular, and I lived alone in a cramped apartment with a radiator that clanked at night. I wasn't Ashley, with her accounting degree and her handsome fiancé and her 2-bedroom condo in the nice part of town. But I was family. That had to count for something. Or so I believed. The first real crack appeared 6 weeks before the text. We were having dinner at my parents' house. Just a regular Thursday night dinner. Dad at the head of the table, Mom serving pot roast, Ashley glowing about her wedding plans, and me picking at my food. Emma, you're awfully quiet tonight, Dad said, looking at me with those kind eyes that had comforted me through every childhood fear. I smiled. Just tired. Long week. Still working at that design firm? Mom asked, but her tone was off. Dismissive, somehow. Yeah. Actually, I just landed a new client. Pretty big project. That's nice, Mom said, already turning back to Ashley. Honey, tell your father about the venue you looked at. And just like that, I disappeared from the conversation. I watched them. Really watched them. The way Mom leaned toward Ashley, hanging on every word. The way Dad's attention followed Mom's lead. The way Ashley's eyes would flicker to me occasionally with something I couldn't quite read. Pity? Guilt? I couldn't tell. After dinner, I helped Mom clean up while Ashley and Dad looked at wedding photos in the living room. "Mom," I said, scrubbing a dish, "is everything okay?" She didn't look at me. "Of course. Why wouldn't it be?" "I don't know. You just seem distant lately." She laughed, but it was sharp. Cold. "Don't be dramatic, Emma. Not everything is about you." The dish slipped from my hands, clattering in the sink. I caught it before it broke. I didn't say it was about me. I just asked if everything was okay. Mom turned to face me then, and something in her expression made my stomach drop. It was the look you give a stranger. Someone you're tolerating out of obligation. "Everything is fine. We're just busy with the wedding. You understand." But I didn't understand. Not yet. I left early that night, claiming a headache. In my car, I sat in their driveway for 10 minutes, watching through the window as my family laughed together in the warm glow of the living room. Without me. That's when the doubt started creeping in. The questions I didn't want to ask. Was I imagining things? Or was I slowly being erased? The next few weeks confirmed my worst fears. I wasn't invited to Ashley's bridal shower. Mom said it must have been an oversight with the invitations. But I saw the photos on Facebook. 20 women, all laughing and holding champagne. My mother's arm around Ashley's shoulders. My cousins, my aunts, even our old neighbor from 3 houses down. Everyone except me. I called Ashley. She didn't answer. I texted her. She responded 8 hours later with "Sorry, been so busy." I drove to Mom's house unannounced. She answered the door with surprise that looked almost like annoyance. "Emma. What are you doing here?" I wanted to talk. She glanced over her shoulder. "This isn't really a good time." "It's never a good time lately." We stood there in the doorway, a standoff. Finally, she sighed and let me in. We sat in the kitchen where I'd eaten 1,000 meals, where she'd taught me to bake cookies, where Dad used to do the crossword puzzle every Sunday morning. But it felt foreign now. Like I was visiting a house that used to be home but wasn't anymore. "What's going on, Mom? Why wasn't I invited to the shower?" She folded her hands on the table. Her wedding ring caught the light. 40 years she'd worn that ring. 40 years of marriage to my father. 40 years of building a family. And now she looked at me like I was threatening it. Ashley wanted something small. Intimate. There were 20 people there. "Emma." Her voice was ice. "You're being jealous. It's not a good look." I felt like I'd been slapped. "Jealous? Mom, I'm hurt. There's a difference." "Is there?" She stood up, began wiping down the counter that was already clean. "Because from where I'm standing, you've been making Ashley's engagement all about you. This is her time to shine. Can't you just be happy for her?" "I am happy for her. I just want to be included in my own family. Don't raise your voice in my house." I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. Something's changed. I don't know what I did, but something's changed. "Talk to me. Please." Mom kept wiping the counter. Back and forth, back and forth. She wouldn't look at me. "Nothing's changed, Emma. Maybe you're just finally seeing things clearly." "What does that mean?" She stopped. Set down the cloth. Turned to face me with an expression so cold it took my breath away. "It means that maybe it's time you stopped expecting so much from us. You're 32 years old. Ashley's building a life. Getting married. We're helping her because she needs us. You're just coasting." The words hit me like physical blows. Each one calculated. Meant to hurt. I'm not coasting. I'm working hard. I'm doing my best. Are you? She crossed her arms. Because it doesn't seem like you're doing much of anything. Still in that tiny apartment. Still at the same job. No relationship. No prospects. Just existing. Tears burned in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I can't believe you're saying this to me. Someone needs to. Your father and I won't be around forever. Ashley has Marcus. Who do you have? The question hung in the air between us. I thought I had you, I whispered. She looked away. You should go. I left. Got in my car. Made it 3 blocks before I had to pull over because I couldn't see through my tears. My mother. The woman who'd kissed my scraped knees. Who'd stayed up with me through nightmares. Who'd taught me to be strong and independent and kind. She just gutted me with words designed to make me feel worthless. And I had no idea why. I stopped reaching out after that. If they wanted to see me, they could call. They could text. They could make an effort. My phone stayed silent. Days turned into weeks. Ashley's wedding got closer. I received an invitation in the mail. Formal. Impersonal. Like I was a distant cousin they were obligated to invite. I texted Ashley. Got the invitation. Can we talk? She called me that night. Finally. Hey, she said, and her voice was strange. Careful. Hey. I miss you. Silence. Then, I miss you too. Ash, what's happening? Why do I feel like I'm losing you? Losing all of you? She sighed. A long, heavy sound. Emma, it's complicated. Then uncomplicate it. Talk to me. Another pause. I could hear her breathing. Imagined her in her beautiful condo, probably looking at wedding magazines or paint samples or whatever people with perfect lives looked at. Mom thinks. Mom says. What? What does Mom say? She says you're not good for me right now. That you're negative energy. That I need to focus on my future and you're stuck in the past. I couldn't breathe. And you believe her? I don't know what I believe anymore. She's very convincing, Emma. She says things, and they make sense when she's saying them, and then later I feel guilty, but by then she's already in my head and Ashley, listen to yourself. She's manipulating you. Don't say that about Mom. I'm not trying to attack her. I'm trying to understand why I'm suddenly the villain in my own family. You're not the villain. You're just. Emma, maybe you need to give us some space. Let me get married. Let things settle. Then we can figure it all out. Space? Ashley, you're my sister. I know. And I love you. But right now, I have to choose what's best for me. And Mom says, stop caring what Mom says. Think for yourself. Her voice went cold. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not. I'm just asking you to remember who we were before all this. Before Marcus, before the wedding, before Mom got in your head. Goodbye, Emma. She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, watching the screen go dark, feeling like I'd just lost the last person in my corner. The wedding was in 3 weeks. I almost didn't go. Seriously considered just sending a gift and making up an excuse. Food poisoning. Work emergency. Anything to avoid watching my family celebrate without me. But something stubborn in me refused to give up. Some small hope that maybe, on Ashley's big day, things would be different. That the warmth of the occasion would melt whatever ice had formed between us. I was so naive. The wedding was beautiful. I'll give them that. Ashley looked stunning in her dress. Marcus looked proud. Mom looked radiant in mother of the bride pink. Dad looked handsome in his tux. I looked like a ghost at my own family's celebration. I sat in the third row. Not the front row where family should sit. Third row, next to cousins I barely knew. During the ceremony, when the officiant asked if anyone objected, I felt every eye in the room flicker toward me for just a second. Like they expected me to stand up and ruin everything. I didn't move. Barely breathed. At the reception, I sat at table 9. Not the family table. Table 9, with Ashley's co-workers who didn't know me and didn't care to. I watched my mother dance with Ashley. Watched them laugh together. Watched the photographer capture every moment of their joy. No one asked me to dance. No one came to check on me. I might as well have been invisible. Halfway through dinner, I went to the bathroom. Stood in front of the mirror in my navy dress that I'd bought specifically for this day. I looked tired. Sad. Out of place. The door opened. My cousin Rachel walked in, stopped when she saw me. Oh. Emma. Hey. Hey, Rachel. She went into a stall. I washed my hands, about to leave, when her voice stopped me. It's really awkward, you being here. I froze. What? She flushed, came out, started washing her hands next to me. I'm just saying. After everything. Must be weird for you. After everything? What are you talking about? She looked at me in the mirror, surprise crossing her face. You don't know? Know what? She dried her hands slowly, clearly debating whether to speak. I thought you knew. I thought that's why why things have been weird. My heart was pounding. Rachel. Tell me. She glanced at the door, then back at me. Lowered her voice. Your mom's been telling everyone that you tried to sabotage the wedding. That you're jealous of Ashley. That you told lies about Marcus to try to break them up. The world tilted. What? That's insane. I know. I didn't believe it. But that's what she's been saying. 4 months. She told the whole family you're unstable. Going through something. That they need to distance themselves from you for everyone's good. I gripped the edge of the sink. Why would she do that? Rachel shrugged, uncomfortable now. I don't know. Family drama. But Emma, everyone believes her. They think you're the problem. She left. I stood there alone in the bathroom of my sister's wedding reception, learning that my mother had been systematically destroying my reputation for months. Poisoning every relationship I had. Turning me into a villain I'd never been. And I had no idea why. I left the wedding early. No one noticed. Or if they did, no one cared. In my car, I screamed. Actually screamed until my throat hurt. Pounded the steering wheel until my hands ached. Then I drove home in silence, feeling something inside me harden into steel. I wasn't going to cry anymore. I wasn't going to beg for answers or explanations. I was going to find out the truth. Whatever it took. The next 2 weeks, I became a detective of my own life. I started with social media. Went through every post, every photo, every comment from the past year. Looking for clues. Patterns. Something that would explain why my mother suddenly hated me. Nothing obvious. Just the gradual disappearance of me from the family narrative. Photos of Mom and Ashley. Mom and Dad. Ashley and Marcus. Group shots of everyone at family gatherings I hadn't been invited to. I was being erased in real time, documented on Facebook for anyone who cared to notice. Then I called my Aunt Linda. Mom's younger sister. We'd always gotten along. Emma. She sounded surprised to hear from me. How are you, honey? I'm okay. I wanted to ask you something. Has my mom said anything to you about me? Pause. What do you mean? Aunt Linda, please. I need to know. She sighed. Your mother is protective of Ashley right now. The wedding planning has been stressful. That's not what I asked. Another pause. She mentioned that you and Ashley had been having some friction. That you were struggling with some things. What kind of things? Emma, I don't want to get in the middle of this. Please. I need to understand what she's been telling people. Linda hesitated, then spoke quietly. She said you've been having mental health issues. Depression. That you've been acting erratically. She was worried about you but didn't know how to help. Mental health issues. Depression. Erratic behavior. All lies. Strategic lies meant to make everyone doubt me if I ever spoke up. Aunt Linda, I promise you, I'm fine. I'm not depressed. I'm not erratic. I don't know why she's saying these things. I believe you, honey. But your mom seemed so convincing. So worried. That's the problem. She is convincing. After we hung up, I sat in the dark of my apartment, pieces starting to click together. Mom wasn't just pushing me away. She was building a narrative. Making sure that if I ever questioned what was happening, no one would believe me. They'd see it as confirmation of my instability. It was calculated. Deliberate. Cruel. But why? I needed to know why. That's when I remembered something. A conversation I'd overheard months ago, before everything fell apart. I'd been at my parents' house, coming back from the bathroom, when I heard Mom and Dad talking in the kitchen. I'd paused in the hallway, not meaning to eavesdrop, but something in Mom's tone had caught my attention. We have to be careful, she was saying. If she finds out. She won't find out, Dad replied. There's no reason for her to know. But what if she does? What if someone tells her? No one will tell her. Everyone who knows understands the situation. I'd wondered what they were talking about but had dismissed it. Now, it felt significant. What didn't they want me to find out? I started thinking about the will. Mom's text had mentioned it specifically. Don't even think about the will. Why would she say that unless the will mattered? Unless there was something in it I wasn't supposed to know? My parents were wealthy. Not rich, but comfortable. They owned their house outright. Had good retirement savings. Life insurance policies. Assets that would eventually be divided between Ashley and me. Or so I'd assumed. What if I was wrong? I needed to see that will. Getting access to my parents' house without them knowing would be difficult. But I still had a key. They'd never asked for it back, probably because they'd never imagined I'd use it without permission. I waited until I knew they'd be out. Dad had a golf game every Tuesday morning. Mom had her book club right after. They'd be gone for at least 4 hours. On Tuesday morning, I called in sick to work. Then I drove to their house, hands shaking on the steering wheel. This felt wrong. Sneaking into my parents' house like a criminal. But they'd left me no choice. They'd cut me off, refused to explain, and now I needed answers. I let myself in through the front door. The house smelled like coffee and Mom's perfume. Everything looked normal. The same furniture. The same family photos on the walls. Except all the recent photos were of Ashley. Just Ashley. I went to Dad's study. He kept important documents in a filing cabinet behind his desk. I'd seen him access it 1,000 times growing up. The cabinet was locked. Of course it was locked. I searched his desk for the key. Nothing. Checked the obvious places, pencil holder, desk drawer, under the desk pad. Nothing. I was about to give up when I remembered. Dad used to hide spare keys in the small ceramic bowl on the bookshelf. He thought he was being clever, but I'd known about it since I was 12. The bowl was still there. And inside, 3 small keys. The second one fit the filing cabinet. Inside were folders. Organized, labeled, meticulous. Dad was nothing if not thorough. I found the folder labeled estate planning and pulled it out. My hands were shaking as I opened it. There were several documents. The will. A trust. Insurance policies. Property deeds. I started with the will. It was dated 6 months ago. Recently updated. I skimmed through the legal language until I found the distribution of assets. And there it was. Everything, the house, the savings, the investments, the life insurance, everything was going to Ashley. Not split between us. Not divided equally. Everything to Ashley. I was left exactly one thing. A single item specifically itemized. My grandmother's ring. The one I'd loved as a child. Worth maybe $500. That was my inheritance. A ring. While Ashley got everything else. I sat down hard in Dad's chair, the document shaking in my hands. I kept reading. There was a letter attached. Typed, signed by both my parents. We have decided to leave the majority of our estate to Ashley as she has proven herself to be responsible, stable, and committed to family values. Emma, while we love her, has demonstrated poor judgment and life choices that make us concerned about entrusting her with significant assets. We hope she understands this decision is made with her best interests at heart. Poor judgment. Poor life choices. What life choices? Being single? Living in an apartment? Not being as successful as Ashley? Or was there something else? Something I still didn't understand? I kept searching through the folder. Found another document. A letter from a law firm addressed to my father. I unfolded it. Started reading. And that's when I found the truth. The truth that explained everything. The letter was dated 3 years ago. It was regarding a property settlement. A house that had been left to my father by his Aunt Margaret when she died. Aunt Margaret, who I'd loved dearly. Who'd been like a second grandmother to me. She'd passed away 3 years ago, and I'd mourned her deeply. According to the letter, Aunt Margaret had left her house to be split between Dad and his brother. But there was a specific provision in her will. A handwritten note found with the will. The note said that she wanted her house to eventually go to me. Emma. Her great-niece who'd spent so many summers with her. Who'd listened to her stories and learned her recipes and promised to take care of her garden. She wanted me to have it. But Dad had sold the house. Split the proceeds with his brother. Never told me about Aunt Margaret's wish. The letter from the law firm was asking for confirmation that the family had been notified of the provision. Dad had replied that yes, everyone knew, and everyone was in agreement. He'd lied. He'd taken what was meant for me and split it with his brother. And no one had ever told me. I felt sick. Actually nauseous. But there was more. Another document. A bank statement showing a deposit 3 years ago. $450,000. Dad's share from selling Aunt Margaret's house. That money had been used for renovations to their current house. And for Ashley's condo down payment. And for her wedding. My inheritance had funded my sister's perfect life. And they'd never told me. They'd cut me out, lied to me, and then made sure I'd never be in a position to question it by destroying my credibility with the entire family. I sat in that study for an hour, pieces falling into place. Mom had started pulling away from me right around the time Ashley got engaged. Right when they started spending big money on wedding preparations. Money that should have been mine. They'd felt guilty. Guilty enough to slowly erase me from the family rather than face what they'd done. And when I'd started asking questions, started noticing the distance, they'd doubled down. Made me the problem instead of admitting their betrayal. I took photos of everything with my phone. The will. The letter from the law firm. The bank statements. All of it. Then I carefully put everything back exactly as I'd found it. Locked the cabinet. Replaced the key. And I left their house for what I knew would be the last time. In my car, I finally let myself feel it. The betrayal. The pain. The absolute destruction of everything I'd believed about my family. They hadn't just cut me out. They'd stolen from me. Then gaslit me. Then turned everyone against me to cover their tracks. My mother. My father. My sister. All of them. I drove home in a daze. Walked into my apartment. Sat on my couch. And I started planning. Because here's what they didn't understand about me. What they'd never understood. I wasn't the weak one. I wasn't the failure. I wasn't the one who needed to be pushed aside and forgotten. I was the one who'd survived everything life threw at me. Who'd picked myself up after heartbreak. Who'd built a life on my own terms without anyone's help. I was stronger than all of them. And I was going to make sure they knew it. But I needed to be smart. Emotional reactions wouldn't work. Confrontation would just give them ammunition to call me unstable. No. I needed to be cold. Calculated. Strategic. Just like Mom had been. I spent the next week planning every detail. Research. Phone calls. Consultations with a lawyer who confirmed what I already knew, I had a case. A good one. Aunt Margaret's wishes, documented in her will, had been ignored. The statute of limitations hadn't run out. I could sue for my share of the estate. But that's not what I wanted. Not really. Money was just money. What I wanted was justice. Exposure. The truth coming out in a way they couldn't spin or lie about. I wanted them to feel what they'd made me feel. Erased. Betrayed. Abandoned. So I made my own plan. Step by step. Move by move. And then I waited for the right moment. That moment came 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday afternoon. When my phone lit up with those 8 words that were meant to destroy me. Don't call or come over. We're done. And don't even think about the will, sweetie. Mom had finally worked up the courage to make it official. To cut me off completely. She probably thought I'd beg. Cry. Demand explanations. Instead, I took a slow sip of my tea and typed 2 words. Got it. Then I set my plan in motion. The first call I made was to the lawyer. It's time. File everything. You're sure? He asked. This will be public. It'll be messy. I'm sure. File it today. Second call was to my uncle, Dad's brother. The one who'd split the proceeds from Aunt Margaret's house. Uncle Tom. It's Emma. We need to talk about Aunt Margaret's will. Silence. Then, how did you find out? Does it matter? Did you know she wanted me to have the house? Long pause. Your father said you'd been told. That you were okay with selling it. He lied to you, Uncle Tom. Just like he lied to me. Another pause. Jesus. Emma, I'm sorry. I never would have agreed if I'd known. I believe you. But I need you to do something for me. I told him my plan. He listened. And then, to his credit, he agreed. Third call was to Rachel, the cousin who'd told me the truth at the wedding. Rachel, I need a favor. A big one. What kind of favor? The kind that proves I'm not the crazy one. I explained what I needed. She was quiet for a long time. Emma, if I do this, your mother will never forgive me. I know. And I'll understand if you can't. But Rachel, she's been lying about me for months. I just need the truth to come out. She sighed. Okay. I'm in. What do you need me to do? The plan was simple. Elegant, really. In 3 days, there was a big family gathering. Dad's birthday. Everyone would be there. The whole extended family that Mom had spent months poisoning against me. I wasn't invited, of course. But that didn't matter. Because the lawsuit would be served that morning. Right before the party. To both my parents. The lawsuit that detailed everything. The stolen inheritance. The lies. The manipulation. All of it, documented with evidence, filed in public court. Rachel's job was to be there with her phone ready. To document what happened when my parents realized their lies were about to be exposed. Uncle Tom's job was to back up my claims. To tell everyone the truth about Aunt Margaret's will. My job was to sit in my apartment and wait. Wait for them to realize that their quiet, forgettable daughter had teeth. That Tuesday night, the night I sent got it, I waited. The lawsuit would be served first thing Wednesday morning. The party was Wednesday evening. I'd given them 24 hours to stew in their panic before facing the family. Generous, really. My phone started ringing at 8 p.m. Mom. I didn't answer. Dad. Ignored. Ashley. Declined. They called again. And again. Text messages started flooding in. Emma, we need to talk. Please pick up. This is serious. You're making a huge mistake. Think about what you're doing to this family. I turned my phone on silent and poured myself a glass of wine. By midnight, I had 47 missed calls. Dozens of texts ranging from pleading to angry to threatening. I read them all with a smile on my face. Finally, at 12:30 a.m., I responded. To the group text with all 3 of them, I wrote, "You had months to tell me the truth. You chose lies. You chose to erase me. Now you'll face the consequences. See you in court. Oh, and by the way, the whole family will know everything by tomorrow night." I made sure of that. Sleep well. Then I blocked all 3 of them. And I slept better than I had in months. Wednesday morning, I called in sick to work again. I couldn't focus anyway. My lawyer texted me at 9 a.m. Both parties served. Your mother answered the door. She did not take it well. I smiled. At 10 a.m., Rachel texted. Holy shit, Emma. Your mom called my mom. She's freaking out. Says you're trying to ruin them. Is your mom believing her? Not sure yet. But people are starting to ask questions. Good. Let them ask questions. At noon, Uncle Tom called. I just got off the phone with your father, he said. He's furious. Threatened to never speak to me again. I'm sorry. You don't have to, Emma, stop. I'm doing this because it's right. I should have questioned things 3 years ago. I didn't. That's on me. But I'm not going to let them gaslight you now. Thank you, I whispered. See you tonight. I'll make sure everyone knows the truth. The party was at 6 p.m. Rachel was my eyes and ears inside. She texted me updates throughout the evening. 6:15 p.m., everyone's here. Your parents look like they're going to be sick. Ashley keeps crying in the bathroom. 6:30 p.m., your dad just made a toast about family loyalty. The irony is insane. 6:45 p.m., Uncle Tom just asked to say something. Here we go. I sat on my couch, phone in hand, heart pounding. This was it. The moment of truth. Rachel sent me a voice recording. I pressed play. Uncle Tom's voice came through clearly. I have something to say, and I apologize if it ruins the party, but it needs to be said. I could hear people going quiet. Glasses being set down. 3 years ago, when Aunt Margaret passed away, she left specific wishes about her house. She wanted it to eventually go to Emma. Robert, you told me Emma knew and was okay with selling. But that was a lie, wasn't it? Silence. Then Dad's voice, angry. Tom, this isn't the time. When is the time, Robert? When are you going to tell the truth? Because Emma knows now. She knows you took what was meant for her. She knows you spent it on renovations and Ashley's condo and the wedding. And now the whole family is going to know too. Chaos erupted. Multiple voices talking over each other. Is this true? Robert, you said Emma was taken care of. What do you mean she doesn't know? This is insane. Mom's voice cut through, sharp and defensive. Emma is mentally unstable. She's been causing problems for months. This is exactly the kind of dramatic nonsense. She's suing you. Uncle Tom's voice boomed. She filed a lawsuit this morning with evidence. Bank statements. Letters from the law firm. Your own will cutting her out completely. She has proof of everything. More chaos. Rachel's voice in the background, I saw the documents. She showed me. It's all true. Someone, I think it was my Aunt Linda, said, you lied to us. You said Emma was the problem. But you were stealing from her? We didn't steal, Dad started. You took her inheritance and never told her. Uncle Tom shouted. What do you call that? Ashley's voice, sobbing, I didn't know. Mom, you said, you told me Emma was just jealous. Shut up, Ashley. Mom snapped. Silence fell like a bomb. Did you just tell your daughter to shut up? Someone asked quietly. The recording ended there. Rachel must have stopped filming. But she texted immediately after, Emma, it's chaos. People are leaving. Your parents are trying to do damage control, but no one's listening. Ashley is having a breakdown. Your mom locked herself in the bathroom. I think you actually did it. I sat there holding my phone, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Vindication. But there was no joy in it. Just a cold, hollow victory. They'd destroyed our family. Not me. Them. And now everyone knew it. Over the next week, the fallout was spectacular. My lawsuit became family gossip within hours. Then neighborhood gossip. Then, because someone leaked it to a local blogger who wrote about legal drama, it became minor internet gossip. The story was too good. Family steals daughter's inheritance, gets sued, made for perfect social media outrage. My parents hired a lawyer. A good one. They were going to fight. But they couldn't fight the evidence. And they couldn't fight public opinion. The family split into factions. Some believed my parents' continued claims that I was unstable and vindictive. But most, especially after Uncle Tom and Rachel spoke up, sided with me. Ashley called me from a number I didn't recognize. I answered without thinking. Emma. Her voice was broken. Please. We need to talk. Now you want to talk? I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know about Aunt Margaret's house. Mom said you were okay with everything. She said you'd been told. And you believed her? Even after she turned you against me? Even after she spent months making you think I was the enemy? Silence. Then, quietly, I was wrong. I should have questioned it. Should have stood up for you. I'm so sorry. I wanted to accept her apology. Wanted to believe she was genuine. But the damage was too deep. Ashley, you chose Mom over me every single time. You let her poison you against me. You didn't invite me to your shower. You barely wanted me at your wedding. You stood by while she erased me. I know. I know, and I'm sorry. But Emma, she's our mom. She was so convincing. And I was so focused on the wedding, and I believed her. That's the problem. You believed her lies more than you believed in me. She was crying now. Please don't shut me out. You're my sister. I love you. You loved the idea of me. But when it came down to choosing between me and Mom's approval, you picked her. Every time. Emma, I have to go. I hope you have a good life with Marcus. I really do. I hung up. Blocked the number. It hurt. God, it hurt. But some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. The lawsuit took 3 months to settle. My lawyer was confident we'd win if it went to trial. The evidence was too solid. My parents' lawyer knew it too. They offered a settlement. $200,000, half of what they'd taken from Aunt Margaret's estate. Plus legal fees. My lawyer advised me to take it. You could fight for more, but it'll drag on for years and cost you in legal fees and emotional energy. I thought about it. Really thought about it. Part of me wanted to fight. To take them to court. To make them admit in front of a judge what they'd done. But another part of me just wanted it over. Wanted to take the money, start fresh, and never look back. Take the settlement, I told my lawyer. But I have one condition. What's that? They have to write a letter. A formal, written apology admitting what they did. It doesn't have to be public. Just for me. I want them to admit the truth in writing. My lawyer relayed the condition. My parents' lawyer tried to negotiate it away. I refused. Letter or no deal. They finally agreed. The letter arrived 2 weeks later. Typed on official letterhead from their lawyer's office. Signed by both parents. It was cold. Legal. Bare minimum. We acknowledge that we failed to inform Emma about the provisions in Margaret's will regarding the house. We acknowledge that the proceeds from the sale were used in ways that primarily benefited Ashley. We apologize for any hurt this caused and hope this settlement will allow us all to move forward. No mention of the lies. The manipulation. The systematic destruction of my reputation. Just a sterile, lawyer-approved acknowledgement of failing to inform. But it was in writing. Signed. Admitting fault. That was enough. I signed the settlement agreement. The money hit my account 3 days later. $200,000. My inheritance. Finally mine. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it just felt like the end of something I could never get back. 6 months later, I moved out of state. Used the settlement money for a down payment on a small house in a city 3 hours away. Close enough that I could visit if I ever wanted to. Far enough that I'd never run into them by accident. I got a new job. Better pay, more creative freedom. Started therapy to work through the betrayal and grief. Made new friends. Built a new life. One where I wasn't defined by the family that tried to erase me. Ashley sent me a letter. Actual handwritten letter, not email. It arrived at my new address, which meant she'd worked to find it. I almost threw it away without reading it. But curiosity won. She'd written 3 pages. Apologizing. Explaining. Begging for another chance. Marcus had left her, she said. 2 months after the wedding. Said he couldn't deal with the family drama. Couldn't be associated with people who treated their own daughter that way. Mom was seeing a therapist. Dad had retired early, the stress too much. The family was fractured. People taking sides. Holidays were awkward. Nothing was the same. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, Ashley wrote. I know I failed you when you needed me most. But Emma, I miss you. I miss my sister. If there's any chance, any possibility of rebuilding what we had, I'll do anything. I'll wait as long as it takes. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe someday enough time would pass that I could forgive. But not today. Today, I was focused on building something they couldn't take from me. A life that was mine alone. Strong. Independent. Free. The life I should have had all along. A year after the text message that ended everything, I was standing in my new kitchen making tea. The sun was streaming through the window. My house smelled like fresh paint and possibility. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Emma. Mom's voice. Older. Tired. Please don't hang up. I should have. But I didn't. What do you want? I need to tell you something. Something I should have said a long time ago. I waited. I was wrong. Her voice cracked. Not just about the money. About everything. I was scared. Scared of what? Of losing you. Of you becoming independent and not needing me anymore. Ashley always needed me. She asked my advice, wanted my help with everything. But you were always so capable. So strong. And I think, somewhere in my twisted thinking, I decided that if you didn't need me, then I didn't matter to you. I closed my eyes. So you pushed me away first. Yes. And then the thing with Aunt Margaret's house happened, and I felt so guilty, and instead of dealing with that guilt, I made you the problem. Made everyone think you were the issue so I wouldn't have to face what we'd done. You and Dad both. Yes. Both of us. We were cowards, Emma. And we destroyed our family because of it. Silence stretched between us. I don't expect you to forgive me, Mom continued. I don't deserve it. But I needed you to know the truth. I needed you to hear me say that you were never the problem. You were never broken or unstable or any of the things I said. You were just my daughter, and I failed you completely. I felt tears on my cheeks. You did. I know. And I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No. Nothing I say will make it better. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what I did. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I stood there in my kitchen, in the life I'd built from the ashes of everything they'd destroyed, and I made a choice. Thank you for calling, I said quietly. Thank you for the apology. It means something. But Mom, I can't have you in my life right now. Maybe not ever. What you did, it broke something that I don't know how to fix. I understand. I hope you find peace. I really do. But I need to find mine first. Okay. She was crying now. Goodbye, Emma. I love you. I always loved you, even when I was too broken to show it right. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up. Set my phone down. Picked up my tea. And I stood in the sunshine of my new kitchen, in my new house, in my new life, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe never. But peace with who I was and what I'd survived. They'd tried to erase me. Tried to make me disappear. But I was still here. Stronger than they'd ever given me credit for. And that, in the end, was the best revenge of all. The story doesn't have a neat, tied-up ending because real life doesn't work that way. I haven't spoken to my parents since that call. Ashley still writes sometimes. I read the letters but rarely respond. The settlement money let me build a foundation I'd never had. Stability. Security. A home that's actually mine. I've been dating someone new. Someone kind who doesn't have drama with their family. Who thinks the way I handled everything was brave, not vindictive. Some days I'm okay. Some days I'm angry all over again. Some days I miss the family I thought I had, even though I know now it was built on lies. Therapy helps. Time helps. Distance helps. And knowing that I didn't just roll over and accept being erased, that helps most of all. Because here's what I learned from all of this. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most will hurt you the worst. They'll lie and manipulate and gaslight you until you question your own reality. But you get to decide how the story ends. You get to decide whether you let them destroy you or whether you rise from the ashes of what they burned down. I chose to rise. I chose to fight for the truth even when it would have been easier to just disappear the way they wanted. And now I'm here. Building a life they have no part of. Creating a future they can't touch. That text message, "Don't call or come over. We're done," was supposed to be my ending. Instead, it was my beginning. The beginning of understanding my worth. Of refusing to accept less than I deserved. Of walking away from toxicity even when it wore the face of family. My mother tried to erase me with 8 words and a lifetime of manipulation. I responded with 2 words, "Got it," and the courage to expose the truth. And by midnight, everything had changed. Not because I was vindictive or cruel. But because I was done being invisible. So if you're going through something similar, if someone in your life is trying to make you the villain when you're actually the victim, if you're being gaslit and manipulated and told you're crazy when you know damn well you're not, document everything. Trust your instincts. And don't be afraid to walk away from people who treat you like you're disposable. Even if those people are family. Especially if those people are family. Because blood doesn't give anyone the right to abuse you. And forgiveness isn't something you owe to people who never truly apologized. You owe yourself peace. Happiness. A life free from people who make you feel small. And sometimes, getting that life means burning down everything you thought was solid and starting over from scratch. It's terrifying. It's painful. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But standing here now, in my own house, living my own truth, answering to no one but myself? It was worth it. Every single painful step was worth it. My name is Emma. I'm 33 years old. And this was the story of how my family tried to erase me, and how I found myself instead. That text message changed everything. But not in the way my mother intended. She wanted to end me. Instead, she freed me. And I'll never give her the power to hurt me again.